Hi, my name is Pete Keys, and almost 40 years ago the world's top surfers gathered at this beach to compete in the UK's first ever ASP sanctioned contest, the Europro 83. I shot as much of the contest as I could on my Super 8 movie camera and then produced my second ever surf film. Now I'm pleased to present a remastered version of the film with original commentary and interviews. Most of the music has had to be updated for copyright reasons, but I'm really pleased to have been able to retain the Mechanics track, who were a local band of that era, for the end sequence of some Newquay surfers. For this, many thanks to Luke Hodge and songwriter Dave Quinn. Please let me know if you enjoy the film, particularly if you can identify any of the unnamed surfers, and check out my first film made a year earlier of the 1982 Newquay Surf Classic. Newquay, England, just 2 weeks before the start of the Europro 83. This year, for the first time, the contest is ASP rated. That means the world's top 16 surfers must compete. A few of them have been here before and will know what to expect, but for most, it will be a new horizon.
It's simple. Young eyes down to adore. All that life has to offer. The joy that's found in the small.
The Foster's balloon hangs over Fistral Beach and marks the start of the first truly international surf contest in Britain. It's a risky business running a surf contest. The chances of any surf at all in August are probably less than 50-50, and the weather in England is, well, changeable to say the least. The organisers needn't have worried. The weather was great, and the surf, whilst never sensational, was okay, and lasted throughout the entire contest. Still, few people would have thought that holidaymakers would line the shore in their hundreds to watch a few guys surfing 3 to 4 foot surf. Fewer still would have thought that both the major British TV companies would have camera crews covering the event, and that 2 weeks later we could watch the whole thing on grandstand. A lot of the credit must go to the organisers for a well-staged event. The giant scoreboard keeps everyone fully up to date on the results of the heats. Commentary by the exuberant Californian D. David and the more down-to-earth Mark Horan increase the tension and keep us amused. The atmosphere is a mixture of circus and Radio 1 roadshow, but the surfing is deadly serious. In the water, the top professionals show what they can do. Shane Horan, second in the world for the last 2 years, and out to prove that he's number one this year. He encourages a controversial image, but mostly he's just a very talented surfer. And even on these mushy waves, the blonde Australian finds speed and proves that 2 fins aren't necessarily better than 1. Dainky Aloha. Many wondered how the Hawaiians would cope with small waves and cold water. In the event, they seemed to do just fine. Tom Curran, one of the up-and-coming Americans. He's had a tremendous start to the year with his wins in Australia, but he was knocked out in this heat of the Europro. Thompson, Mr. Smooth of surfing. This man can handle the most powerful waves in Hawaii and is still considered one of the best tube riders ever, but looks here like he's been riding small waves all his life. He's a pretty smooth operator on the beach, too. Joey Baran, one of the most exciting prospects from California for many years. His fast, almost jerky style, with radical cutbacks, can fool even the best cameraman. For me, Joey was one of the standouts of the contest, but it'd be interesting to see how he handles larger waves. Wayne Rabbit Bartholomew, possibly one of the most consistent surfers on the circuit, whose flowing style suits big and small waves alike. He never looks spectacular, but you can bet he'll be there or thereabouts at the end of the year. Rabbit has been one of the pioneers of professional surfing, along with Sean Thompson and a few others. Will it progress? Can it be sustained? Only time will tell. He's a percentage surfer, and you can see here how he realises he's done just enough to take the heat.
Now up and riding, we can see Greg going backside on this wave, or backhand, meaning that the back of his back is to the back of the wave, or to the front of the wave. So we can see Greg winding his way through. Most of the surfers, if they have...
As the contest progresses, the excitement builds. Crowds get larger, and in the water, the surfing hots up.
The hopes that we fall live by are beginning to rust. As we take pride with promises of people that we can trust. It never had to turn away, it never ceased to exist. And the traces you just spoke of disappear amongst the mist. Our sanity is slipping away, and our leaders treat it like a game. And we're all glad we've hate and expected to take the bait and put those lives at stake. Don't fight the hand that feeds you by questioning the way. You got to get your shit together and keep struggling day to day. You think of things like colour or religion or your race would not be used against you and be respected in this place. But as you turn the pages of what's a TV you're another, don't divide society and by telling us on each other. Our sanity is slipping away, and our leaders treat it like a game. They treat it like a game, and we're all glad with hate and expected to take the bait and put those lives at stake. Don't fight the hand that feeds you by questioning the way. You got to get your shit together and keep struggling day to day. Don't fight the hand that feeds you by questioning the way. You got to get your shit together and keep struggling day to day.
Of course, if one surfer wins the first two in succession, then we'll be best.
For another 25 minutes, we're talking now 15 minutes.
Semi-finals. The wind has gone on shore, the swell has dropped. But you get the feeling that the crowd would watch the surfers in a paddle race. Mark Horan conducts the pre-surf interview.
At the very least, I had a nice little surf this morning and looking forward to the confrontation.
Any special strategy in this best of three system here we're using in the semi-finals?
Well, I think you have to pace yourself. You can't really go all out in the first heat because there's a possibility it can go to 3 and it will definitely go to 2. So you have to conserve your energy and really put everything into the last one or the last 2.
The semi-final. I feel good. Shane not speaking much this morning, but I'm sure these guys are keen to get out in the water, so as soon as they have their Compass jerseys on, David, we'll get them down to the water's edge.
The straight talk tires open at the Stubbies event in Australia last year.
It's a heat where wave selection is crucial. In the end, Shane takes it. In the other semi-final, Tom Carroll beats Rabbit, and so prevents a repeat of the 1981 Europro. If there was any disappointment in the contest, it was that the surf of the final was so small. Still, both Shane Horan and Tom Carroll prove what can be done in such conditions. Fiercely fought 3-heat final just went Tom Carroll's way. Still, you couldn't help wondering, as both surfers hot-dogged their way through the 2-foot surf, what they could have done with a genuine winter swell.
The citizens' advice, getting a diplomatic treatment just when it feels right, just when I don't need it. Somebody says you're wrong. The critical proclaiming, plenty considered opinion. I like to shelter from the rain, and I won't allow the friction. Somebody says you're wrong. And if I make my own bed, I will lie in it. Let's hear it!
Just like to ask them a couple of short questions. I know they're sick of being interviewed, but just this is the last time for us. Shane Horan, how do you think the final result will come?
Well, on the overall result, I won the first set. I went into the second set. I put it all in the second set in the first 20 minutes, and I was happy with that result. Okay, Shane, so it was one each and then into the final set. Tom Carroll, how do you feel about the outcome?
I'll be very pleased either way, I think. It was a fantastic heat to surf in. He's such a good competitor, Shane, and he really makes you try harder and harder every little minute of the heat.